Yes, after a long time. Very good afternoon. I hope you all got the handouts. Okay. See, I'll tell you the agenda, how we are going to do these classes and so. First, you all got the handouts, number one. You also got this practice sheet. Keep it handy. This practice sheet is going to be the final sheet where you are going to prepare for your exam. Right? Baki, there are certain handouts that are given to you. One, these are the places which are there in the last 1 year with respect to current affairs. We'll do continent by continent. We'll do Africa. We'll do Europe. We'll also do the Middle East, where a lot of disturbances are there. Then India in the end. So in totality, we'll be covering up the major aspects of the mapping. If you are going for preliminary examination, if you are attending these classes, let's say for next 4-5 days, I'm pretty much sure that you will at least figure out the names of the places which are there in your paper somewhere or the other. We'll be discussing in this classroom. So there's a lot of content that we are going to consume, and we'll filter out also. So for that, practice is one of the most important aspect, and we'll be doing through the practice. Everyone has Atlas. Yes, Atlas is important. Number one, if you don't have, you can also go and get. Number two, you practice map. If you don't have, you can also collect it. And as it is also my duty to pick up Atlas, so I'll also take and show places on the Atlas so that it will become easy for you to identify. Right? This is how we are going to do. And then when it comes to the current affairs, there are a lot of current affairs. Lot of current affairs will be there. Let's say that if a new species is found, that place becomes a current affairs. But is it so? Is every place important or so? Not every place is important. If you have to understand which place is important, the first thing is that you need to go through the mapping questions of the previous years. How many of you have gone through the previous year mapping questions? Yes. See, there's a particular pattern they ask. The pattern is they ask the match the followings, and then they ask about the location and the specificity of that location. So these are the only 2 or 3 patterns which are there. I'll show you some questions also. Then you will be in a position to understand. Most of the questions in the mapping, they come from the world mapping area in geography. And also in India mapping, some questions are there. Let's say rivers they used to ask earlier, but in the last 2 to 3 years, if you see, there's not many rivers, but rivers in combination with national parks, rivers in combination with the cities. That is how they ask. So we'll also do rivers. That is also important. National parks will revise, and Ramsar sites, yes, we'll do it again here. Especially those Ramsar sites which were added in the last 6 months, that are very, very important. Yesterday also there's a new addition, right? 99. Ek aur bacha hai, century kar hi lenge is saal, right? So these are some of the aspects that we'll be discussing in detail. Now, current affairs point of view, let me tell you what are these places. First, there is a depression called Danakil Depression, which is there in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Danakil Depression ke बारे में जानना चाहिए. You need to know what is Danakil Depression when it comes to Africa. Then there is also another article which is there on the dam, which is the largest dam in Africa, which is now impacting the Egypt. Okay? And the Nile River, the source, the origin, you need to know about that. In the Horn of Africa, Somalia, a lot of disturbances, Burkina Faso. So here, if you look into certain countries in Africa, ranging from Eritrea to Senegal to Eritrea, all of these countries at one or the other point of time in the last 5 years have been subjected to a coup. So why are these countries subjected to a coup? You need to look it from the environmental angle. We'll also do that. So Sahel regions, all the countries, 90% of the countries in the Sahel region in the last 5 years, the military has taken over their government, right? So how is this Sahel region different from Savannah and the Equatorial rainforest region? What are the characteristics of the Sahel? Do you also have Sahel in the India? You need to know that, right? So you can also keep open your map of Africa. Today's agenda is to cover up the map of Africa. Before that, let us quickly see some previous year questions, how these questions are asked. So see here. These are some of the previous year questions which I'll be showing you. Once in a century, flooding swamp Somalia after historic drought. Right. So if there is some articles which are there with respect to current affairs, UPSC is asking those questions. Let's say, which of the following countries has been suffering from decades of civil strife and food shortage and was in news in the recent past for its very serious famine? 2023. In recent years, Chad, Guyana, Mali and Sudan caught in the international attention for which of the following reasons common to all of them? So this is a question which was asked. Why? Because majority of the African countries, they were subjected to coup. For the common reason is, yes? Okay, this is in context of the minerals, right? So like this, statement 1, Switzerland is one of the leading exports of the gold in terms of value. Statement 2, Switzerland has the second largest gold reserve in the world. Donbass, Syria, Kachin, Ethiopia, Tigray, Northern Yemen. So it's match the following type. Same match the following, even Russia's places they have asked, and Nagorno-Karabakh, it is a disputed area in the Europe and in between the Central Asia. Then Kherson and Zaporizhzhia, again in Russia, right? Ukraine. So match the following places. This is also a similar kind of question they asked with respect to India, Mudra Port, Vishakhapatnam Port, Kamaraja Port and their characteristics. Again match the following. Which of the following is best example of repeated falls in sea level giving rise to present day extensive marshland? Run of Kutch. So India mapping based questions. About 3/4 of the world's cobalt, a metal required for manufacturing of batteries for electric motor vehicles, is produced by. So factual based. Consider the following statements. Jhelum River passes through Wular Lake. Krishna River directly feeds Koleru Lake. Meandering of Gandak River formed Kanwar Lake. So don't look out for answers. I'm trying to tell you how you're supposed to look into the current affairs and the static mapping. Right? So like this, if you go on, there are good number of questions. With reference to the ancient South India, Korkai, Pompuhar and Muchri were well known as ports. Amarkantak hills are at the confluence of Vindhyas and Sahyadris. Bilgiri Rangan hills constitute the easternmost part of Satpura ranges. Where is Bilgiri Ranganada? Karnataka. What is it famous for? Tigers, where tribals live in the core areas of the tigers, right? Seshachalam hills constitute the southernmost part of the Western Ghats. Eastern. East-west corridors under the Golden Quadrilateral project connects Dibrugarh and Surat. The difference between Golden Quadrilateral and Diamond Quadrilateral, you need to know, right? Then Trilateral Highway connects Moreh in Manipur and Chiang Mai in Thailand and Myanmar, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, connects Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. So more or less, if you look into these kind of questions, most of these questions are based on current affairs. Number 1, match the following type. Right. So first, our agenda is to understand the basics of the mapping. Okay. If we take Africa continent, are you good enough to understand what are the seas that are covering Africa? What are the land masses which are there? What are the different kinds of topography? A broad idea if you have, then things will do good for you in the exam. Right. So do we need to learn everything and anything? No. I'll only teach what is important for the exam. Right. Mapping is an endless game. So in this mapping, you need to know what is important for the exam. Sometimes a story behind the subject will help you to understand and solve. Right. Let's say Africa. When we look into Africa, Africa is always called as the dark continent. Why is Africa called the dark continent of the world? Why? Yes. When was India discovered? To whom? India was there since ancient civilizations, but say that India got discovered in 1498. It's a discovery to the British, not to India, right? So when you look into the mapping, the discoveries of the world always comes from the Europe, because they were the ones who always started to go out, take a ship, compete with Spain, Portugal to find new places and start new trades. Right? That's why they say Columbus discovered. ठीक है, Vasco da Gama discovered, Magellan went around. इससे पहले Indians, Cholas were ruling the Bay of Bengal, right? But only the stories that were written by the Europeans were famous. But come back, in this context, you need to know few things. They say that Africa is one of the darkest continent. Why is Africa a dark continent? Because you need to know the topography of Africa first. See, this topography of Africa is like this. Today we are going to do Africa, right? Now, once try to understand this topography. In the south, it's a desert. Botswana, Nigeria. Then in the center, it is equatorial rainforest, right? And then you go north, again, it's a forest. So Africa, a uniqueness is that the coastlines of Africa are mostly raised platforms. They are raised platforms like this. And much of Africa is a plateau. Much of Africa is a plateau. So people who are coming from Europe, they could not enter into Africa. Why? Desert is there, right? They cannot enter in this part of the area. Thick forests are there. You come to equatorial region, they could not enter there also. So that's why Africa was largely confined as the dark continent. This dark continent is because not many Europeans explored them, right? So as Europeans did not explore them, they call this as a dark age continent. And you come to south, you have hills, plain areas, hills, plain areas, hills and plain areas. And these kind of topography, we call this as Karus, which is also called as Karoo land, right? This is your desert. So that's why, and you go little more south, the problem is that you have westerlies, and these westerlies are actually fast moving westerlies. So it's not that easy for these westerlies and the boats to cross over. So the world was much needed a shipping route which actually avoids this road and comes. So this avoidance came with the help of the Suez Canal. Okay. Now look here, desert in the north, desert in the south, and in between you have equatorial forests. So this equatorial forest will have a rainfall of roughly 250 plus centimeters, right? See, if this is your equator, you have tropical evergreen forest. In the tropical evergreen forest, I already told you, the kind of tree cover will be layered tree cover. You have at least 3 layers will be there, minimum 3, and 4th layer can also be seen. So that means these are the kind of forests which are having 250 centimeters of rainfall, ranging from 180 to 250. That is the centimeters of rainfall. Now understand the kind of soil that is present here. So question number 1, is the soil of equatorial region rich in nutrients? Yes or yeah, no? No, why? Weathering and erosion, agreed. Other reason? Leaching happens, agreed. Next, sunlight, agreed. The most important reason you need to remember is that this equatorial rainforest, it has layers. Top layer, okay? This is called as emergent layer, so much of sunlight. And the foliage is nothing but the leaves. Leaves here are not dark in color, they are light in color, right? So as you go a little downwards, the foliage will become thicker, means the leaves will become thicker, and you will see that the color of the leaves will change. Why? Photosynthesis doesn't take place. There is an alternative mechanism which will they start to adapt. But the problem of nutrition is that equatorial soils are not much nutrient. Okay? They are not rich in nutrients. Understand this. I'm saying not rich in nutrients. But the fixation of nitrogen happens here. The fixation of nitrogen happens in the soils of the equatorial region daily. Why? Yes. See, I'll try to connect wherever possible. See, The nitrogen fixation can happen through 2 or 3 mechanisms. Atmospheric nitrogen can be given to the soil in 2 or 3 different mechanisms. Number one, if there is lightning, that lightning will help the atmospheric nitrogen to be fixed into the soil. So isn't this the area where every day 4 p.m. you'll have so much of rainfall and lightning? So because of that, nitrogen fixation is a common phenomena, but still the nutrition is not high in the soil because all the nutrients are taken by these trees and plants and vegetation. So soil do not have much of the nutrition. Remember, equatorial rainforest soils are poor. They are poor, right? Okay. Now, next to this equatorial rainforest, as you move little north in either sides, the rainfall will decrease, right? As the rainfall decreases, the foliage also decreases. Foliage means the leaf, litter, vegetation, the height also reduces. So, equatorial rainforests, you go north, you'll find savannas. This is called as savanna. Savannas are what? Tropical grasslands. These tropical grasslands, they have a height of 2 to 4 meters. You have 2 to 4 meters height. And in this 2 to 4 meters height, the grasses are taller, right? So there will be tribal communities, there will be animals. And this is savanna region is also a region where you'll get to see, alternatively, you can see some kind of rainfall in the name of monsoon. Monsoons are not just confined to India, monsoons are also there for Africa. So here, during the times of summers, you know that the ITCZ zone is here. During the times of winters, the ITCZ zone comes little south, right? During the summers, when the ITCZ zone is there, you know that the rainfall will go till the ITCZ zone. Can I say that this part of the area is under the rainfall? And after 3 months or 4 months, you will realize that the same area will now not have any rainfall as the ITCZ zone has shifted little southward. That means they came into the drier side, right? So these drier sides will be dry. You might have heard about the Kruger National Park. Okay? The Great Migration. The Great Migration is about species. So basically, with respect to rainfall, they move north, and with respect to rainfall, they come south. So this great movement of ITCZ zone will also facilitate the movement of animals and migrations. You go little more north. Here, this is the area where you will find from Senegal to Eritrea. Here you have Senegal and here you have Eritrea. So from Senegal to Eritrea, you call this region as Sahel region. And north of Sahel, you have Sahara. So this is your savanna and equatorial rainforest, right? So this is how classifications will be there. Again, savanna, okay? To an extent, Sahel kind of semi-arid regions are there. Okay? These are semi-arid regions. Sahels are semi-arid, and these are completely 200 plus rainfall. Savannas are seasonal grasslands. They are tropical grasslands. In totality, this is how your Africa, when you go from north to south. And look here, this is the desert again. And Sahara is a desert. Here you have Botswana, right? Namibia. So these deserts are there. You go little more north, you find what? Karoo lands. Karoo lands are nothing but, yes, mountains and then plain area, mountains and plain area. Yes. So these are a kind of similar kind of dunes you can call. So in totality, a broad overview. Now, in this particular section, you see this. This is Ethiopian highland, right? This is your Ethiopian highlands. It is believed that the origin of the human beings started from here, and they found out the coastlines, and then they moved outward, right? So the forests of Africa, they are also called as old forests. Old world monkeys are there here, old world monkeys. But the same on the other side, if you see the South America, the forests of Amazon, they are New World monkeys will be there. Old World monkeys and New World monkeys. See, Old World monkeys means they are brothers and sisters of you and me, right? Chimps, basically orangutans they can be. But New World monkeys are the bandars that will roam around, right? Langurs. Old World monkeys are apes. The only ape in India is Hullo gibbon. It is present in the northeast, right? So Old World monkeys will have fingers, it will have toes. New World monkeys they won't have, right? Their fingers are not fully developed. Maybe they spend a lot of their time on the trees. New World monkeys they doesn't like to spend so much of time on the trees. They are not fully arboreal. They are also terrestrial. They come onto the land. They walk with their two hands. But New World monkeys they use their four legs, right? So most of the Old World monkeys can be seen here. New World monkeys in yes. So this is the broad classification. I hope now you can imagine what Africa is for you. In the north, you have Mediterranean Sea, right? And on one side, you have Red Sea. This is Gulf of Aqaba, right? And Gulf of Eden. Yes, Gulf of Eden. And then here you have Bight. See, this is called as the Bight. What do you mean by Bight? What do you mean by Gulf? How is it different from a sea? How is it different from a lagoon, estuary? Right, simple. See, if you have India is there, three sides of water, we call this as peninsula, right? A bay is nothing but a wide opening is there. Three sides it is covered by land, and one side it is open with water. So this is called as bay. If the opening is very narrow, we call this as gulf, right? Strait when it connects two water bodies. Let's say this is Atlantic Ocean and this is Mediterranean Sea. A strait is that is connecting two large water bodies, right? A landmass which connects two land masses. Okay? A stretch of a land which connects two land masses, we call it as isthmus. Okay? Suppose if this is your landmass, this is your landmass, and this is your landmass. If a small stretch is there, this is called as isthmus. Like that, I'll show the isthmus of Kra. Okay? Isthmus of Kra, you have it. So isthmus is something which connects two land masses. Strait is which connects two water bodies, right? Bay is three sides covered with land, and one side it has an opening. If the opening is narrow, then we call it as Gulf. So this is your Persian Gulf, right? The opening is narrow and three sides land. This is called your Gulf, right? But what is Bight? Bight is when the opening is very wide, we call this as Bight, right? Bight of Biafra, Bight of Benin. Okay? So there are a lot of bights. In Australia also, you see the map of Australia when you look into. So this is also Bight, right? So this is the overview of Africa. Now what do we do is, if you have your atlas, keep your atlas handy, and I'll point out the places, you just have a look, right? And in the handout, I'll go to the handout separately and I'll discuss the current affairs associated with that. So mostly 99% of the time, if a map pointing comes in the exam, it won't go out from our classroom, right? Why so confidently I'm telling? Because this has been done every year when we are doing it. Somewhere or the other, that accuracy we are able to crack it. Maybe 5 to 10% we might miss some new places, but even then, those places you can cover it through elimination, right? So if you attend these classes for next 5 days, things will become easy for you with respect to mapping. Now come first, look here. Please identify Atlas Mountains. Atlas Mountains are you'll find them here, right? Atlas Mountains. Let me show you on the map. Look here. First, identify the major topographic features of Africa. First is Atlas Mountains. So these are the Atlas Mountains, right? So another mountains are, you will find them on the eastern side. So can you please find this Muchinga Mountains? Please identify. These are also the mountain ranges. Next, come little south. In the Drakensberg, you find this Drakensberg Mountains. So that means three major mountain ranges are one, the Atlas, which is Atlas Mountains are majorly part of the desert area, right? And interestingly, you will learn one thing, the coldest areas of Africa, where do you see? If I give you an options, the coldest parts of Africa are found in the northern region, in the central region, in the southern region, and in the western region, southwest. What will be your option? This is option A, B, C, D. How many will mark A? How many will mark B? So the coldest temperatures in Africa are recorded in which of the following areas? Northern part of Africa. So first A. Someone, right? B, C, D. D. B. B for Bombay. Here. What is the reason behind B? Cold currents will be there. Right? His logic is, sir, mountains are there. See, basically, come here. What Atlas is please try to understand. Mountain regions, yes. See, the coldest places are in Morocco. Right? The recognitions are coldest places are in Morocco, and the hottest places are also in the Sahara region, and this is found in Libya. In Libya, yes, Al Aziza, the temperatures can go up to 57 degrees Celsius. So 57 degrees Celsius means the wet bulb temperature in this part of the regions can go up to 38. So in this context, you need to know what is wet bulb and heat bulb. Wet bulb temperature is when the atmospheric temperature is measured including humidity. That is wet bulb temperature. Heat bulb temperature is when you don't take humidity into consideration and you measure the temperature of the atmosphere. That is your heat bulb. Human can survive only up to 37 degrees Celsius of wet bulb temperature. Beyond that, the human cannot survive. So in this part of the area, the survival is not possible. And the driest part of the region is on the eastern side, that is in the Sudan. Sudan is the driest place, and Al Aziza, it is the hottest place. The coldest temperatures are recorded in 11 odd degrees across the seasons. So this is what you are supposed to know. And the wettest place is 1000 plus centimeters. You will see in the central part of the area, that is central and the western. It is right next to the Guyana coast, right? So this is the broad aspects that you are supposed to know. Next, come here. Some of the interesting maps which are there in your atlas you need to know. See, natural vegetation in Africa you'll find everywhere. I mean, all types of natural vegetation ranging from equatorial rainforest to desert types. All the vegetations are there, be it grasslands of tropical region, grasslands of temperate region are also present here. Velds are also there here, and savannas are also there here. Velds in the sense, don't think that it is only found in South America. Velds are the names of temperate grasslands. So temperate grasslands are also there, tropical grasslands are also there, equatorial rainforest, tropical dry deciduous, tropical wet deciduous, evergreen dry, evergreen wet, all the forests are there. Aank band karke, which of the plantations are found in Africa? All. But tell me, what are the kind of trees that will be grown in the central part of Africa? Give me 5 examples, the trees that are grown in the equatorial rainforest. What kind of trees are grown here? Mahogany. Very good. Mahoganies are also grown in India. Yes, they are also grown in India. So mahoganies are also grown in India. Where do you see this mahoganies? Where? Western Ghats, tropical rainforest. Yes. So let's once quickly see some important facts here. Africa. Quickly give a reading. Second largest continent and second most populated continent. Greenwich meridian, equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, equator, every line that is a major line, all of them passes through this, right? Equator also passes, Tropic of Cancer also passes, Tropic of Capricorn also, and prime meridian also, right? So clear? Interesting aspect. Then Algeria is the hottest country. Diurnal range of the temperature is more than annual range of the temperature. What do you mean by this? The difference between temperature during the daytime and the temperature during the night time. This difference is more as compared to the difference in the month of January and difference in the month of December temperature. Right? Diurnal temperature is more than the annual range of temperature. This is what you are supposed to know. Next, Al Azizia, you already know this is the hottest place. And then you have equatorial rainforest. Equatorial rainforest means you'll have trees like mahogany also, rosewood, okay? And then ironwood, oil palm, and rubber. So, can you do agriculture in the equatorial rainforest? You will do plantation agriculture, right? You cannot grow rice, you cannot grow wheat there. Why? So much of rainfall, soil erosions, right? Soil is not much fertile, nutrients are not rich. In the equatorial rainforest, whatever the nutrition that is there in the soil, it is taken by the trees, and the nutrition is primarily present in the vegetation. So by this logic, across the equatorial regions, the nutrients of the soil should not be there. Yes, same is the case even in the Amazon forest. Same is the case when you go to Singapore. Same is the case you go to Indonesia, right? So you also need to remember in India the forest of equatorial rainforest. Which of the following trees can be present in which kind of forest? Another important countries you see, there are roughly 53 countries, and countries which are not recognized by UN. Western Sahara. This is not recognized by UN as such. A part of this, 80% of this is under the control of Morocco, and 20% of it is an independent body that they themselves have declared we are independent and they are controlling. So it is a disputed area and this is not recognized, right? So I don't think UPSC will give a question in that part of the regions. So let's see. This is your Sahel. I already told Sahel starts from Senegal to Eritrea. We'll learn these countries, names of the countries in a while. Don't worry. Sahel looks like this, right? During the times of rainy season, it will be little wet. During the times of dry seasons, it is completely dry, right? So people here are poor. The rainfall can reach up to 120 to 130 centimeters during the time of rainfall as season, and rest of the time it is going to be dry. So when you see from equator, this is equatorial Guinea, savanna, and then Sahel desert. In the southern hemisphere also it is the same, right? Vegetations, as you go from equator towards the polar region or equator, far away from the equator, the height of the trees also comes down. The diversity of the plantations also comes down, right? Species diversity will also come down. Now, one by one, what are the countries where Tropic of Cancer passes through? Before that, once open your atlas and please check out for male countries. That is Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. So M A L E. See these male countries: Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. Commonality is that they have borders with Mediterranean Sea. And add T. T is for Tunisia. Right? So in this, if you broadly look into, you will have Tropic of Cancer passing through Algeria, Libya, Egypt, and this Nigeria which is there, a northern part of Nigeria also it is passing through. Plus Western Sahara. Now this Western Sahara, it is not a recognized country by UN. 80% of this is under the control of Morocco. 20% is their independent bodies, a liberatory body is controlling them. So if UPSC gives that which of the following areas Tropic of Cancer passes through, maybe if it is giving this name, mark it. If it doesn't, mostly it will not go into that area, it becomes a controversy. And the other country where the Tropic of Cancer passes through is Mauritania. Right? So look here, male countries are those countries which has borders with Mediterranean Sea and add Tunisia. We call this as male T countries. Then comes Tropic of Cancer. In this Tropic of Cancer also, to remember it is quite easy. ALE in the male, you add another male called Mauritania. So here also, but here in the M, this is your Mauritania, right? MALE, and then add Niger as a country. These are the countries where Tropic of Cancer passes through. Can you remember? Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. Male countries with T called Tunisia. They have border with Mediterranean Sea. And when we look into the Mediterranean Sea borders, you see, it is easy to remember the African part. But when you go to the European part, it is also easy. I'll tell you the techniques how to remember. Right? So African part are these countries. In this, Morocco is there. North of Morocco, you have Strait of Gibraltar. Right? So Gibraltar is a small island which you'll find here, somewhere here you'll find. This Gibraltar is an overseas territory of UK. And in the south you have Ceuta. Whose overseas territory is this? Spain. Right? So sometimes examiner can give you a question, which of the following countries are present between the Strait of Gibraltar, or Gibraltar is present between which of the following countries? Then don't get confused if they give you UK as an option. So let me show you this strait as we are discussing this. Come here. This is Gibraltar, UK, right? This is Ceuta, Spain. Now here, what are these two countries? The name of this country and this country? Morocco and Spain. So that means sometimes an option can come, Morocco, UK, Spain. आंख बंद करके बहुत सारे इंटेलिजेंट लोग यूके को रॉन्ग मार्क करते हैं, बट नहीं है, राइट? Gibraltar is named after an island called Gibraltar. It is still under the control of UK. The taxing of the Gibraltar Strait is also done by them. Let's say if a ship is passing, taxes are collected by 1, 2, 3. Right? Clear? But you need to read the text also. Read the text. The Strait of Gibraltar is a vital 36-mile, which is roughly 58-kilometer long, narrow waterway connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea, separating Europe from Africa. So Spain, yeah, Gibraltar in the European side. So Spain is its own country, but Gibraltar is UK, Morocco and Ceuta is Spain. This is the text which I have taken from its own website. So then there is zero disputes that you can consider in this particular category, right? 13 kilometers is its narrowest path. बाकी और information आपको जरूरत नहीं है. Come back. Clear? See here. Now read the text for Western Sahara first. Western Sahara is not a fully recognized country. It is a disputed territory. About 80% is in the Morocco, and rest of the 20% is controlled by SADR, right? Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. It's an independent organization. So it is also a disturbed region, right? Next, equator passes through which of the following countries? So see here. First, there is a small island called Sawtone and Principal. This is an island territory. Then GCDUKES, GC Dukes. It's a mnemonic which you can try to remember. But for that, see here, first is Gabon, Congo. This Congo is Republic of the Congo. Then Democratic Republic of Congo. You have the U, Uganda. K is Kenya. S is Somali. Right? Gabon, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Kenya, and Somalia. So it is G for Gabon, C for Congo, D for Democratic Republic of Congo, U for Uganda, K for Kenya, S for Somalia. How many of you have eaten a Duke's biscuit in your childhood? Yes. Please identify in your atlas. Take little time. Gabon, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. So what is the difference between this Congo and this Congo? Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. कितना फर्क है? जितना head of the state election की फर्क है. Right? So this is Republic. Right? This is Democratic Republic. So this Republic is just the head of the state is elected, but they are not democratic. This head of the state is elected, they are not democratic. This head of the state is elected, but they are democratically elected. This is a democratic nation. This is not a democratic nation. It is still autocratic, but autocratically they elected. They'll only give you 5 options to you. Ab chuno isme. This is a kind of election that happens there. Clear? Equator also. Then comes Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. ये सब desert से जाता है, ठीक है? Most of it goes to desert. So from here, the first country is Namibia, then comes Botswana, then South Africa, and the last one is Mozambique, right? Mozambique and then Madagascar. Madagascar, though we don't consider is a part of Africa, but still, dono can be handled here. But see, one interesting aspect of Madagascar is that Madagascar is very rich in endemism. Very rich in endemism. What are the unique species which you will find only here but nowhere else? Lemurs. Lemurs. Lemurs are native to Madagascar. You won't find anywhere else except here. So lemurs are one of the most important species that you will find here, right? Unique species. And Madagascar, most of the speciation, it is believed that the speciation started after the island got separated. And remember one more thing, Madagascar was once part of India. This is Madagascar, which got separated from India. That means our extension of India was like this. So same goes when you look into the continental shelf area. It is also the area where the continental shelf is little disputed, right? Disputed in the sense, I mean to say, you open the map and check, do you have a wider continental shelf or a narrower continental shelf? On the eastern side, do you have a continental shelf? In Madagascar, check. Is it broad or narrow? Very narrow. Very, very narrow. Where is the rest of the continental shelf? India. So my question is, chalo, I have a question. Do you have a wider continental shelf on the west coast or east coast of India? Those say east, raise your hand. Those say west, raise your hand. अब अपना अपना एटलस खोलो और वेस्टर्न कोस्ट का कॉन्टिनेंटल शेल्फ देखो. Answer is western coast. The western coast continental shelf is wider. ठीक है? The eastern coast continental shelf is narrower. Yeah. Open your atlas and check any of the map of the atlas. ये तो बहुत बेसिक है. In the exam also you'll fear west या east, west, east, akkad bakkad नहीं करना है. Look here, in your atlas you will find something unique. Color variation will be there. So can you see this? This color variation now tell me who has a wider continental shelf. West coast, right? West coast has a wider continental shelf and east coast has a narrower continental shelf. How many times I told you in the class, if more is the continental shelf, then you'll have more the oil. Where is the oil present in India? Bombay, Trombay, Jamnagar, Rajasthan, these were all the areas which were once submerged, isn't it? So all these areas were once under the water for a very long time period. They are all under the water, they got submerged. And this part of the coast is, this is emergent coast, submergent coast, emergent coast. That means it is submergent, it is emergent. कहीं तो क्रैक होना चाहिए. कहाँ है ये क्रैक? Bhima fault, right? Have you heard about the earthquake in the Koina Dam? Koina Dam. When a dam is built, if it is geologically not stable, if you are storing water in that dam, don't you think the plate will become heavy? Earthquake will be there, right? So Bhima fault is a fault. So you have, this is the submergent coast, this is the emergent coast, this is the emergent coast. The continental shelf will be wider, but let's go to the Madagascar and check. Where did the continental shelf of Madagascar go? It is with India. Okay, major chunk of continental shelf of this, it is with India. So you don't find a very wider continental shelf. And tell me which other places do not have continental shelf? Which other places in the globe do not find continental shelf? Chalo, options I'll give you. Continental shelf are absent at the divergent coast. Continental shelf are absent at the convergence of ocean and continent. Option 2. Option 3. Continental shelves are absent when an ocean and continental plate converge with each other. Continental shelves are absent when ocean plate diverges from each other. Continent and ocean divergence. एक एग्जाम्पल बताओ. Chile and Peru. Is it divergence or convergence? हाँ, yes. कहाँ डाइवर्ज हो रहा है चिली और पेरू में? आंसर तो सही बोला, एक्सप्लेनेशन गलत है. यू आर अ Wegner. Wegner says, see here, this is your Nazca plate. This is your South American plate. When ocean plate and continental plate come in collision with each other, this is where you will not have continental shelves. So continental shelf is absent across the Peru and Chile coast, right? Continental shelf is also absent across the Indonesia, Java, Sumatra. These are the areas where the continental shelf is absent, right? What do you find if continental shelves are absent here? Trenches are present here, right? Wherever you go across the globe, if that plate is at the borders of the ocean and continent, convergence will be there, then you will not have, just a minute, you will not have shelves, right? So जहाँ continental shelves absent है, usually you will not find shoals there, ठीक है? But possibility of ports can be established well. Best ports can be established. Why? If continental shelf is absent, the depth of the ocean is more. So bade ships, they can easily come and you just need to build. But Africa, look at the problem of Africa is that Africa do not have ports. Many of the ports are absent in Africa. Why? Because the coastal area is very difficult in Africa to establish ports, because the coast itself is a plateaued coast or else a highland coast. So it is not easy for a highland like this. Imagine this is a highland, this is a highland. For a port to establish and then transport it to the highlands, it is very difficult. But come to India, you have natural ports also, you have artificial ports also. I'll discuss this in the Indian mapping in detail. Take this as a homework. Which ports are natural and which ports are artificial? Right? Is Mumbai port a natural port? Artificial. It is dug 15-meter deep just to let the big ships passage happen. Is Visakhapatnam port a natural port? Artificial. Dredging. Mangaluru is natural port, right? Marmagaon is a natural port. And in the eastern side, there's a lot of rivers present. These rivers are, from the north you see, you have Ganga, you have Brahmani, Baitharni, then Mahanadi, then you have Godavari, Krishna, Pennar, Kaveri, a lot of rivers. All of these rivers come and deposit their sediments here. So it is very difficult to establish ports until and unless it's a river-free region and has a plain area with little continental shelf. And those kind of places are best present in Machilipatnam. Okay? That's why Masulipattnam port, you might have heard in the ancient India, that is where, right? And the Gujarat also used to have this. You might have heard about the stories of the Lord Dwaraka, the Krishna and the Dwaraka stories, submergence. So next time, yaad rakhna, submergent coast means the coastlines which are present next to the Gujarat. Okay? This is submergent. Lord Dwaraka was a story you might have heard, submerged, right? It's a mythological story, but geographically we believe that yes, if that city is present here, definitely it should have submerged. And same is the reason why you have oil. Wherever you have continental shelves, remember that oil is rich. Continental shelf का मतलब oil. अरे एक पर्शियन गल्फ देखो, पूरा ही continental shelf है, complete continental shelf.
Sir, but in that continental shelf and outer continental shelf, there was a question in the FLT, like, which is easy to extract and which is difficult to extract in the continental shelf.
Outer, see, where the deep depth is comparatively more, but not too deep as deep oceans, there the extraction is easy. So if a sea is completely filled with continental shelf, what do we call it? Let's say this is Persian Gulf. Look at the color difference. I'll zoom out. Can you see the variation in the color? This is light blue, this is dark blue, this is light blue. This is your sea which is full of continental shelf. Wherever you have continental shelf, you will have oil. Why? Logic is simple. Let's say there are rivers. Okay? They'll come and deposit their sediments in the ocean and they get deposited at the continental shelf. Today the rivers came. Rivers will also have dead, decaying, all the matter. Let's say this is the layer 1 where all the animals got dead and decayed. Maybe sometimes wood, sometimes animals, sometimes fodder, food, everything river gets and deposits. And after few years, this will get filled with sediments. And again, new material will be dropped. Again, it will be filled with sediments. Like that, sediment by sediment, layer by layer, the pressure builds upon them, and over few thousands of years, this becomes your fossil fuel. Right? Oil can only be found under the ocean, or a land which was once covered by the ocean. Remember this, oil is only found under the ocean or a land which was submerged under the ocean. Right? With this logic, you see, Persian Gulf, the depth of this Persian Gulf is not more than 60 meters. Isiliye, you have so much of oil in them, so much of oil, and this is oil rich region. Right? 60 meters of depth. That means all the sediments were once present here, maybe forests were there, they got submerged. If a similar kind of phenomena happens, if a carbon material or if a forest, if that is submerged under the land, on the land, it will turn into coal. Right? It will turn into coal. A similar kind of process in the ocean, it will turn into fossil fuel like oil, natural gas, and so extraction. So the world's finest oil is present here, plus the world's another area where oil is present. Can you also see the continental shelf is very wide here? South China Sea we call this. China do not want to leave this. Right? Likewise, if I take it to Russia, oh dekho, somewhere 1,000 kilometers of continental shelf. If the continental shelves are wider, you can actually claim to the United Nations and ask that my continental shelf is wider than 200 nautical miles. That means you are now entitled to give me more area for exploration in the exclusive economic zone. Right? If the length of the continental shelf is more than 200 nautical miles in your country, let's say Russia has this continental shelf more than 200 nautical miles. So this Russia will request the UN, my continental shelf is more than 200 nautical miles. So UN will give under the UN CLOS more land to Russia to go and explore. Right? So Russia has so much of oil. Kahan se? Continental shelf. Go to US, bichara US, they do not have much of the access to the continental shelf except in few of the Alaska area. Majorly it is under the control of Canada. Right? But Canadian people are good people. They don't want to explore oil. They are nature friendly. Likewise, you come to Greenland. Around the Greenland also, you find it. And Trump wants this Greenland. Right? Okay. As we are dealing with Africa, let's come back to Africa. So, quickly tell me the countries that where the Tropic of Cancer passing through. Male countries, if within that male M is Mauritania. राइट प्रोनाउंसिएशन आप देख लेना जैसा आप बोलना चाहते हो. मेल कंट्रीज आर मोरक्को, अल्जीरिया, इजिप्ट, लिबिया एंड टी, मेल टी. सो this is the country which is having Tropic of Cancer. This is not present, right? Then rest of the countries are same plus the Niger. So there is a difference between Niger. Somali कहाँ से है? Mali. Niger is also there. ठीक है? Yes. Mali also. Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Libya, Egypt. Yes. So these next. I already told Western Sahara, it is not a country, 80-20 rule. And then comes the equator, which is Gabon, Differ, Dukes, Democratic Republic of Congo, then the Congo, Uganda, Kenya, Somalia. Right. Come to the Tropic of Capricorn, passes through one. South Africa is there, the place where we got our cheetahs from, right? Botswana and Namibia, and other one is Mozambique. So Mozambique Channel and also Madagascar. Madagascar is a unique place where you have lemurs. Lemurs are not present anywhere else except for this particular place, right? Then Look at the prime meridian. Prime meridian passes through Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, and here Togo. Togo is there. You zoom in, you will get to see here this a small area. This is Togo, and then Ghana. So open your atlas and please have a look. Identified or write it. Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana and Togo. As we are looking into this Ghana and Togo, यहाँ पे कुछ coasts होता है. Ivory Coast, Grain Coast, ठीक है, Slave Coast, Gold Coast, right? 4 major coasts will be there across the places of the western part of Africa. Okay, so first we'll see this coast. See here. It is easy to remember this coast. There are 4 major coasts. You open your atlas, you'll still see this coast in the physical map of. Let me first show you them on the atlas and then we'll come back. See. It's called Gigs Coast. Okay, Gigs. Gigs. Grain, ivory, gold and slave. From east to west you need to remember that, right? Slave coast, gold coast, ivory coast. Slaves needs gold to buy ivory and grains. Wait, I'll show it to you on the map. See here. Grain on the west, then Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, Gold Coast, Ghana, and Slave Coast, Togo, Benin, and yes, so Nigeria. याद रहेगा? Okay. Grain Coast, Ivory Coast, Gold Coast, and Slave Coast. The possibility of match the following questions can also be given, right? So these coasts are named after the materials that they are found, and Britishers, they literally wanted to trade this, so that's why they landed in Africa in this part of the area in the name of grain, and later they wanted slaves. They could not enter here. That's why they had tie-ups with the African kings. They said that I'll give you the grains, you give me the slaves. So slave trade, you might have heard in the world history how the slave trade used to happen, Europe to Africa, Africa slaves utake, then they used to go to USA, and in the coffee plantations and tea plantations of USA they used to work. So in return they used to get the cycle of economy of slave used to run, right? So gigs, it is easy to remember this. Gigs Coast, right? Come to some of the important seas here. Mediterranean Sea. We'll first look from the African point of view. You already know male tea countries, that is Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt and Libya. So these 4 major countries which has borders with the Mediterranean Sea. Next, come to Red Sea. How many countries are there? Name them. Look at this and name them. There are 6 countries that are, yes, there are multiple mnemonics that are there. It is DESI, okay? D means Djibouti, you have Egypt, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen also, okay? And Eritrea, yes, Eritrea also. So there are multiple mnemonics that you can make up on your own. Some of the mnemonics are DESSEY, DESI. Other one is seeds, Y seeds. So please spend a minute of time in understanding these. Look here, current affairs point of view. This is called as the rift in the Red Sea. Means the Red Sea is getting separated. And this is called as the rift in the Aden, Gulf of Aden or Aden Rift we call it. And there is another rift which is going into the Africa. So the place where these three rifts are there in the Ethiopian region, we call this as Afar Rift, Afar Point or Afar Rift, where all the three rifts are present there. Rift means, you understand, that means Red Sea is getting widened, right? And this part of the area is also getting separated. So here also separation is there. Wherever you have these kind of scenarios, the chances of earthquakes are quite high. And these chances of earthquakes, which are quite high, can be seen in the Ethiopian region. So this Ethiopian region, you open your atlas. In the physical map of the atlas, you will find Ethiopia as Afar, and you will find some places. Just a minute. Come here. Amar Mountains, right? Then you have a region called Danakil Plains, Danakil Depressions. So this is a depression where you have Danakil Depression. This is a place. A depression is nothing but, as compared to the main sea level, you have little lower areas, and in these areas the temperatures will be hotter, pressure will be high, and you will feel dizziness. All kinds of activities are there, and saline water will be there in the depressions. Mostly fresh water is absent. If the area is below sea level, naturally saline water will be there. And this is the area where the recent earthquake and the recent volcanic eruption which you got to see. What is the name of the volcano? Haile Gubbi volcano. Now open the handout that I gave you. First one. First article. Ethiopia's Haile Gubbi volcano and the Danakil Depression. These two articles will now deal with. See, first, Ethiopia's Haile Gubbi volcano, it is erupted. Right? Now, where is this Ethiopia's Haile Gubbi volcano? It is present in the Ethiopian Danakil area, that is Danakil Depression area. And in these areas, the temperatures are extremely hot and the water is saline. Any lake that is present, it is saline, right? So here, look, in this context, you need to remember three rifts. One is the Red Sea Rift, the Gulf of Aden Rift, the East African Rift. Did I not tell? This is one rift, this is one rift, and this is the rift. That means this is the area where divergence is happening, right? So this is also called as a knot, Afar knot. Knot means what? It's like Moody. It's like a place where all the rifts are moving apart. So that's why the chances of volcanic eruptions are quite high. And when these volcanic eruptions happen, they come with great height eruptions because some lakes are also present here. Now let's look into the literature that is given here. There are three plates. They say that this rift is nothing but, this is your Arabian plate, this is your Nubian plate, this is your Somalian plate. That means, can I say this rift is present between these three plates? Yes. This is Red Sea Rift, this is East African Rift, and this is Gulf of Aden Rift. Three rifts, and Arabian plate, Nubian plate, Somalian plate. this Afar region or Danical Depression region is present in this part of the area, and this is where the eruption happened. Same content is present here. Now let's come to Haile Gubbi volcano. In this context, the important aspects for the prelims is, if a volcano erupts, what are the challenges that can be faced? So this year, you remember what happened? Airlines got disrupted, right? Why? Pollution, dust. If some volcanic eruptions which are happening in the Ethiopia, why should the aeroplanes in India have to be landed? Why? Very good. It is, see here, you know that this part of the area will have, this is easterlies belt and this is your westerlies belt. So your Ethiopia is here. If a volcano erupts here, don't you think it will carry all the material, dust and so on to the India also? This is what happened. See, much of the aeroplanes in India, the aerial route is, as compared to the east, we travel more from the west, right? So we take a halt in Dubai, from Dubai refuel, and then we go to London, and from London you go to US. So much of the trade also happens in this part of the area. So when this volcano erupted, what are the characteristics of a volcanic eruption? What are the materials that are thrown out? You name a gas, aankh band karke tick kar do. Ethiopia? क्या हुआ? Ethiopia is here only, no? Somewhere it is here. It comes under the westerlies belt. क्या issues है? You think, okay, you have to take that liberty to understand. See here, even if Ethiopia is here, Tropic of Cancer, winter, summers, lot of combinations are there. Let's say if your Ethiopia is here, these eruptions were carried on to India because it happened during the months of Jan, right? During the months of Jan, Feb, western disturbances will be there, ITCZ zone will be downward. So that's why they came. Now in this context, what you need to understand is the impacts of aerospace with respect to volcanism. What are the materials that are thrown out when a volcano is erupted? This volcano, when it is thrown, all the materials, they reached even the stratosphere, 14 kilometers above. In that, volcanic ash is there, dust is there, pyroclastic debris are there, sulfur is there, heat is there. Like that, all the characteristics I've given in the handout. Let's go and check there. सीधा हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से उठाया, ठीक है? And this volcano is present in Danical Depression, ठीक है? Got it? Danical Depression is present in both the countries. One is in the Eritrea and the other one is Ethiopia. So, but majority of the depression you will see in the Ethiopia side itself. In Eritrea, very minimal. Okay. Read this literature. Take a minute time. Dark basaltic lavas were thrown out. Okay. Rhyolites and trachytes are nothing but acidic volcanic material is called as rhyolite. In this context, you also need to know the characteristics of volcanoes, which are acidic and basic. There are two kinds of volcanoes, majorly acidic volcano and basic volcano. Quickly, I'll ask some questions. You tell me the answers. Do you have more temperature in the acidic volcanic lava or basic volcanic lava? Mixed answers mila. Dobara पूछता हूँ. Do you have more temperature in the acidic lava or basic lava? Basic. Right? Your basic lava will have more temperature, not acidic. Viscosity is more in acidic lava or basic lava? Acidic lava. Gaseous content is more in acidic or basic? Acidic. Okay? Gaseous content are more. Let me draw this table quickly, try to understand this. See, there are two different kinds of volcanisms you can classify on the basis of the composition of the lava, right? Acidic and basic. See, the gaseous content will be high in this and will be less in this. Silica content, silica means mitti, will be more in which category? Acidic. Basic, silica content is less. Remember, if silica content is more, then the silica content will lead to acidity. In simple terms, you take silica, mitti, and add water to that, and you give temperature to that. This will be more viscous and it will be more acidic, right? The less the silica content, it is basic content. So it is silica is more and silica is less. Temperature, when it comes to temperature, it is less temperature here and it is more temperature here. When it comes to eruptions, who has the more potential to erupt more? Yes, these are conical and can do lot of eruptions into the, and when it's mostly it is fissure type. You'll see fissure type. Here it is shield. Give me the examples. It is shield, right? It is basalt. Both of them are in nature. It is composite, andesite, cinder cone, right? These are the characteristics. So do you have a basaltic volcano in India? Yes, there used to be. The place where we are standing, it is Hyderabad, is flood basaltic province. Shield volcano. Remember, the shield volcano is the same volcano where if this volcano water is put into this, it will turn into composite. Sorry, it will turn into cinder cone. In a shield volcano, if water enters into that cone, the volcano will become violent. The lava will be thrown out. Now, in this particular category, the materials that are thrown out, will call it as pyroclastic materials, debris flow, right? Small volcanic bombs will be there. Like that, you will see all the materials. And in this, you'll have SOx, NOx, carbon monoxide. You name a greenhouse gas, it will come out from there. And sulfur is widely thrown out. That's why most of the volcanoes, they look yellowish color after they are dormant for some time. Why? Because they throw out a lot of sulfur content, right? So what is rhyolitic? Rhyolitic is nothing but some kind of materials which are acidic in nature. We call them as rhyolitic. A basic volcano, we call this as basalt. This is called as basaltic. Or extreme volcano, we also call it as mafic. Right? This is also felsic. We call this as felsic. Rhyolitic, yeah, felsic, basaltic or mafic. These are the different characteristics. Agar itna bhi jaan liya, there will be a question, let's say highly gubby volcano or the characteristics of volcano, somewhere in interlinkage, and 1 point from aviation industry. Now what happens in the aviation industry, let's try to understand. See here, if this is your aeroplane has wings, and this aeroplane, see, these wings are moving at a very faster speed, very extremely faster speed. The air that is coming out from the volcano is already hot, right? See, a volcano, when it erupts, you know that if a volcano got erupted here, that means the air which is moving can be sucked in. So the engines can range their temperature up to 1200 degrees Celsius. And already that extreme air which cannot sustain the temperatures, and the chances of aviation industry can collapse if you're operating in the high volcanic erupted areas. That's why we have to stop. In this, the smoke, soot, dust, sulfur, rhyolites, fluid, lava, pyroclastic debris, everything has a possibility to be flown into the air. So that's why aviation industry is halted. Right, now I'll give you 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Read the literature of the handout quickly. Impacts on the jets. Okay, read quickly. So let me quickly read the content. Volcanic ash contains abrasive glass-like particles that can melt high temperatures inside jet engines and damage aircraft engines. Jet engines can stall when ash melts and resolidifies in the turbine blades. In simple terms, when the ash that is coming in, it can melt in and again it can resolidify within the engine. This is what the aviation industry says. So sometimes these kind of statements उठा के examiner डाल देगा. ठीक है? Then next line says jet engine works by sucking in air, compressing it, mixing it with fuel, burning it, and expelling hot gases to produce thrust. When volcanic ash enters the engine, silicate components melt and resolidify, forming glassy deposits. These deposits block cooling holes, choke air flows, and can cause engine power loss or shutdown. Silica-rich magmas. Silica-rich magmas means what? It is acidic or basic? Acidic. That means acidic magmas or acidic lavas can trap more dissolved gases. Yes, making eruptions more explosive, throwing ash into atmosphere. So surface level air quality was not significantly affected. So this is what you need to know. Rest. Four different types of volcano. I already told you can classify them, right? Come to Danical depression. So this Danical depression is like this. Look here. This is your Danical depression. The place is in this borders you will get to see here, somewhere in this part of the region. On the east, this is your Eritrea, and this is your Ethiopia. This is the place of depression. Depression extends into the Eritrea also, but majority of the lowlands are in this. In this context, you need to know these are nothing but low-lying depressions, 125 meters below the sea level it is present, and then whenever an area which is lying below the sea level, it will have what? Salt pans will be there. In India, where do you see the salt pans? Run of Kutch. ठीक है? Some parts of the run of Kutch are below the sea level. ठीक है? Some parts are below the sea level. Okay, as we have also told about run of Kutch, which camels are present in run of Kutch? Karai camels. Do they swim? They can swim. For how long? 4 to 5 kilometers. So which communities are present there? Run of Kutch communities, not only Karai, run of Kutch communities. It is Maldaris are there. Next, Banjaras are also there. Agarias. You remember salt? People who are working in the salt factories, the ethical issue that I told, when they pass away, if they are burnt, their bodies are not fully burnt. Why? Because the salt has entered into their bones. Right? That is Agaria community. Maldari community. Maldaris are the ones who are present in this part of the Banni grasslands. Right? Maldari, Agarias, Banni grasslands, and Banjaras. These are those people who are present in the Gujarat. Next. Now the location of Danical depression is clear. You can also map all of this in your plain sheet which you have. Okay. Salt pans will be there. Yes. So okay. Our next article. Next article is about a dam. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. In this context, you need to know the origins of the river Nile. Okay? So, river Nile has two origins. One, we call it as Blue Nile and the White Nile. So, here, if you look into the map, this is the map of the river Nile. Lake Victoria is one of the source for this Nile. So this is called your White Nile. See, this is your White Nile, and this is your Blue Nile, right? Ethiopia, what did it do? It said, as Nile, one of the Nile originates in my country, I'll build a dam. And that dam is called as GERD Dam, the Great Renaissance GRED Ethiopian Dam. In this 6.4 gigatons of energy, gigawatt tons of energy, they wanted to produce, right? You know how much of water they stored? To store water in this particular dam, it took roughly 15 years for them. That is the size of the dam. All the water that is coming from this river Ethiopia, river in the Ethiopia, they wanted to store in this dam. Why? For two reasons. Once, they wanted to develop the non-rain-fed areas, they wanted to interlink and connect and bring canals. And the second one is to bring energy, and they wanted to sell energy. So here problem is Egypt. Egypt do not like this. Why Egypt don't like this? Because Nile comes from the south. They don't get drinking water. As the Nile goes into the north, the problem with the Nile is Nile becomes saline. Why? Nile, as we go to the north, it becomes saline. Why? Same case is with Indus River. As it entered Pakistan, before it drains into the Arabian Sea. Yes, very good. It is your. It is comparatively, it is not fully fresh as you go to the Cairo region, and so they have to filter out and then they have to use it. And the highest population of Africa, where do you see? Across the coast or in the inlands? Coastal areas. See, majority of the Africa, coastal areas. And when you look into the crop growing area and mineral growing area, it will be very surprising to you. You just need to have an overview. The chances of questions being asked is very minimal on this, but once build a perspective somewhere or the other, it will help you to eliminate these questions. Look here. This is the mineral map. Right? I'll zoom in to show you. Do you find any of the minerals in this part of Africa? This is where the highest minerals are there, right? So this is where the mineral rich region of Africa. You don't have minerals. So especially on the eastern side, तो बिल्कुल कुछ भी नहीं है. On the western side, yes, you have bauxite here. Cobalt is there, lead is also there, gold is also there. And please look into the agricultural map once, then it becomes easy for you. Arable land is an interesting point. You see, you think that these are the areas of woods and forest where cultivation of crops is not possible. The only area where the crops can be grown are these patches. These are the patches where the crops can be grown. Arable land, we call it. Can I say these are savannas and Sahels occasionally? Yes, Sahel is a semi-arid region. It's just like Rayalaseema region or the eastern part of Rajasthan region. So rest of the areas are these areas where you'll comparatively have good area. Now look at Egypt. Very interestingly, you'll see that this is the only line where the cultivation is possible. Nile River. So once Ethiopia constructs a dam here, 50% of the water which it gets, it will be lost. So Ethiopia is actually storing the water, 6.4 gigawatts of very huge energy. And to store this, I'm telling you, 15 years it took. So it went to the UN, the disputes are all there. Let's look into the text. %90 of the water flow उनका कम हो गया था. So origins of this Blue Nile is a lake called Lake Tana. ठीक है, Lake Tana. And the origin of the White Nile, one of the major sources, Lake Victoria. Is Lake Victoria a freshwater lake or a saline water lake? Should be freshwater. ठीक है, freshwater lake. In this context, you also need to know the Great Rift Valley, the Rift Valley of Africa and its lakes. So there are series of lakes which are present in this Rift Valley. If you know that, things will be easy. Now there are 11 countries that are involved in the Nile. Chances है इस टाइप का सवाल भी पूछ सकता है, right? White Nile is the head stream, right? And Blue Nile originates at Lake Tana. So see here, these are the list of 11 countries. Quickly list it out. These are the countries through which the river Nile passes through. Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, DRC, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, Sudan, Egypt. So that's why it is called as the lifeline. Imagine if this Nile river is present in India. ठीक है? You know the length of this Nile river could be like this. This would be the length of the river Nile. 3,000 odd kilometers it is. The north to south is also 3,100 odd kilometers length it is. So the length of Nile is this. Our Ganga, this is our Brahmaputra. ठीक है? This is our Godavari. This is Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, Narmada. I'm trying to give you a comparative analysis how big the river is. So it is the lifeline for these 11 countries. Out of this Lake Tana, जहाँ से Blue Nile आता है, they are cutting it down and GERD. So in this context, they might ask you what is that GERD dam, ठीक है? And which of the following countries, the sources, possibility of this question asked is there. Listed? Yes, Eritrea also. Lake Tana and headward streams of Lake Tana you can see. Headward streams. Okay. I'll give you 1.5 minutes again for you to read the text. Yes. Quickly read. Yes. Next article is Somalia. Yeah, Somalia scored 100% in terms of the hunger index. It is the 123rd country out of 123 countries. It is the last country with a score of 42.5, that is considered to be the worst score, 123rd country in terms of hunger index, the global hunger index. So in this context, you need to know not just Somalia, the neighboring countries of Somalia, which are part of the Horn of Africa. Usually the Horn of Africa has 4 countries, right? 4 countries. What are they? Somalia to hai hi hai. Next, E and D, Eritrea, and you also have Ethiopia. Then you have Djibouti. So let me show you this Horn of Africa. Somaliland, it is not a recognized one. Somaliland is nothing but Israel. So this is Somaliland. This is Somalia. Right? So let us first look into this seed. See, I'll tell you the list of the names of this Horn of Africa: Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, and Djibouti. Identify these countries. This is your horn. It looks like a horn. Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia. The extensions of the horn are those that are having borders with these. Okay? Sometimes in any discussion forum of the horn, they will be calling Egypt, Kenya, South Sudan. Why? They are having the borders. Right? Yes? Sudan? Yeah. Okay. Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, and Kenya. Right? Africa में कुछ भी हुआ, there is one common country, remember, Egypt. क्यों? उसके पास पैसा है, right? Yes. Basically, it is controlling the straits. It is controlling the economy. Not just here. It also have controls in rest of the Africa also. That's why in most of the forums, Africa, Egypt is by default an entry. The extensions of this can also be there in the seeds. Extension can also be there in Egypt, right? So this is what you need to know. Or quickly give a reading about this particular article. Next article is also about this Somaliland. Israel supports this particular Somaliland. So it is not recognized by UN. Somaliland is. Read the text. 1.5 minutes. And online you can get this document from the link given in the description. Those of you watching. Yes, come to the next article. That is Somaliland. Now, Somaliland, we'll spend 1 minute on this. Look at this. This is Somaliland. Somaliland is the northernmost part of the Somalia. Understand the story behind. It was a British colony before. They fought for the independence. British gave as a dowry to Italian. So it became Italian Somaliland. Italy came, Italy controlled for some years, and Italy said, I can't control you, I'll leave. But these people who are there, they declared themselves as a country and operated for roughly 30 odd years as an independent state. Now they declared independence and Israel is recognizing them. In this context, you need to know this port and Gulf of Eden. See, this is your Gulf of Eden and the port of, yes, the port of Berbera. So through the port of Berbera, they control this part of the area, they patrol this area. For patrolling, they charge to private companies. If you want security, I am there, right? So you know that this is a very notorious area for pirates and hijack. So it is these same countries, they ask to come and access this port. Once you access this port, they charge very hefty prices and they give security till a certain extent and then they leave. If they don't seek security, these are the ones who are going to loot them. Either you have to pay them or you get looted by them, right? So as they applied for the UN, they did not get this, and Israel gave a recognition in that context. This is in news. Nothing much beyond that. Now, before we go to the next article, once come to the Africa and do some static mapping. So Mediterranean Sea countries, you already know, Red Sea, we have seen this, right? Then comes the countries that are bordering with the Indian Ocean, right? First, look at Kenya. This is Kenya. Is it having borders? Somalia? Yes. Little south, Tanzania, Mozambique. The extension can also go into South Africa. So this is also part of Indian Ocean. This is South Africa is also part of Indian Ocean. The countries that you need to remember is Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa. The channel between Madagascar and Mozambique is Mozambique Channel, right, which connects Indian Ocean, right, with that of the Mozambique Sea. Just observation. Just observe. Next. This is your Mozambique Channel between Madagascar and this. Now we'll be identifying some of the important bays, and you need to remember one point from that. Sometimes these kind of silly points will be coming in the examination. One, Gulf of Guyana, Maputo Bay, Gulf of Sidra, and Walvis Bay, and Gulf of Aden. So each bay has some or the other significances. I'll just show it on the map here. You please look out on the atlas that you're following. First one is Gulf of Guyana. South of the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, and then you have, this is also the area, we call it as the Bight of Benin. I told you what is a bight. Bight is a wide opening. This is a wide opening, right? Right? This is called of Gulf of Guinea, nothing much. Next one is Walvis Bay. Walvis Bay is present on the west side of the Namibia. West side of the Namibia. Here, marine and plankton, very highly rich it is there. Why? Why do you have so much of plankton? Yes? Why matching of the currents? How? Do you have cold water currents or warm water currents? First tell me here. Why warm? You will have cold water. See, it should be cold, no? You have west wind drift here. This is west wind drift current. Apply Coriolis force in the southern hemisphere. Left. Upwelling hoga. Cold water. So these cold waters, you will find whales here. This is the uniqueness. Okay? Whales, planktons will be there, marine planktons, rich in marine planktons. So fishing industry is very much prominent here. Walvis Bay. Next. Identify Maputo Bay on the right side of the southern part of the Mozambique. This is Maputo Bay. Maputo Bay, it is famous for dugong sea cows. Okay? Dolphins and dugong sea cows are present here. Dugong sea cow, it is also there in India, right? Ganga, see, dugong sea cows are present in the bay. Okay? Where? The east of Tamil Nadu, between Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu, that is the place where you will Palk Bay, not Ganga. अरे वो sea में रहता है, dugong sea cow, right? It is a sea cow. It is not as a river cow. Next one, Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden. Now please identify the route. If you want to travel from Gujarat to Atlantic Ocean via Suez Canal, what are the seas or gulfs that you are supposed to cross? So if you're crossing from Gujarat, so you wanted to cross, right? This is your Gulf of Aden. Then this is your Strait of Bab el Mandab, right? And then Red Sea, then Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, Strait of Gibraltar, then to Atlantic Ocean. Now, in this context, please also try to find out the route. Not today, tomorrow we'll discuss the route from Gujarat to Russia. How do you want to travel? What are the straits that come across? So this is very, very important. Yes, you want to go from Malacca. Chalo, batao, Malacca se kahan jaoge? Before you reach to Malacca, see, there are two routes through which you wanted to reach. From Gujarat, you want to come, and from here, Andaman Sea, and then you cross Andaman, Strait of Malacca, and from here, you enter into South China Sea. There are three islands. What are they? Scarborough, Paracel, and Spratly. Chalo, you don't want to disturb, and then from here, Kuril Islands, then to Japan, right? Here you can get into Russia. This is one way. Other way around is you don't want to go to Malacca Strait. You come here, and from here you go through Lombok. Lombok is an alternative route that Indonesia wants to develop, right? Because Strait of Malacca में Singapore को बहुत पैसा जाता है. So they thought that I'll develop an alternative route between Lombok. Lombok is an island here. They said that I'll construct this. This can be an alternative route, right? Roughly 40-50 ships can transfer through this. Strait of Gibraltar, somewhere around 350 to 400 ships can cross across. Suez Canal, roughly 250-200 ships can go through. So here, you look, there is another alternative route which India is very much interested in. From Gujarat, you wanted to travel. This is Gulf of Aden. Then this is Bab el Mandab Strait. This is Red Sea. Then from the Red Sea, Suez Canal. You entered into Mediterranean Sea. From Mediterranean Sea, you want to enter into Aegean Sea, right? And then there is a small sea. This is called as Sea of Marmara. Okay? Where a strait is there, that is Dardanelles Strait. Okay? You'll cross the Dardanelles Strait. Then there is Turkey present. Turkey, Strait of Bosphorus. And then you enter into the Black Sea. Before you enter into the Black Sea, you have agencies already. Tomorrow we'll look into this, but this is very, very important. For this year, it is extremely important. Then you will enter into Black Sea to Strait of Kerch, then into Sea of Azov, and you say hi to Russia there, right? So this route is very, very important. And the other route which I'll be discussing in tomorrow's class is through land route. Land also we tried to explore, right? The INSTC, India Middle East corridors. These are some of the important corridors and routes that you need to know. So here, this Gulf of Aden, you're clear with Gulf of Aden. This is Gulf of Aden, right? Here the depth is very high and active rift volcanoes are there under the ocean. Red Sea, active rift volcanoes. So Bab al-Mandab Strait, this is the strait where the Makkah, the place Makkah is present across the coastlines of this Bab al-Mandab, right? Then come. What is this called? This is Gulf of Aqaba, right? This is a small gulf, which we call it as Gulf of Aqaba, right? Suez Canal. Suez Canal is a man-made lake. So here in tomorrow's or day after tomorrow's class, I'll discuss about the alternative route which they were exploring in the Middle East, right? They wanted to cut off the Iran, the Strait of Hormuz directly from Saudi Arabia. If they have to dig like the Suez Canal, they can do it, right? So Saudi threatens Qatar, I'll cut you off. How? It tells, I'll make you an island. ठीक है, I'll cut you off completely. On one side, Iran आपका दोस्त तो नहीं है वैसे. Then I am the only guy. If you are fighting with me, I'll cut you off. How it wants to cut off? It simply says, I'll make you an island by digging in. And they started the project also. Little later, the relations, they negotiated and finally they are there, right? So all this current affairs में है, हम कल discuss करेंगे. Now come back to Africa. Some quick mapping. Gulf of Aden. You know it. Then identify the Gulf of Sidra. ठीक है? Gulf of Sidra. North of Libya, very famous for tuna fishes. Very famous for tuna fishes. Tuna fishes. Here, whales. Mozambique also, you will find whales and dugong sea cows. And here, tuna fishes, right? Two important Strait of Gibraltar as Strait of Bab al-Mandab. I already told you Strait of Gibraltar is present between which countries? It is, the stakes are there between Spain, UK and Morocco, right? Ceuta is an overseas territory of Spain. Gibraltar is an overseas territory of UK, right? So Morocco is also there. It is also having the hold. This is what you need to know. Strait of Gibraltar connects the Mediterranean Sea with that of the Atlantic Ocean, right? So this is how most of our maps look. Bab al-Mandab Strait connects Red Sea with the Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden and the Bab al-Mandab. Okay. Some of the important coasts which we have already seen, that is Slave Coast, Grain Coast, Ivory Coast and Gold Coast, right? Gigs Coast, I told you. From west to east, if you see, it is grain, I is for ivory, G is for gold, and then last it is slave. Please look into the names of the countries also. The western side is the Sierra and the Liberia, okay? And then comes Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, it is easy. And the other gold is present in Ghana, gold is in Ghana. And the last one is a collection of countries, not one or two, it is three, right? Yes, Nigeria. So these are the three which you are supposed to know. So four, not three. याद रहेगा? Try to process. Important lakes. Before that, you have a map with you. Whatever you remember, just place them. Okay? Or else you draw a rough map. On a rough map, this is your Africa. We have learned about few places, right? You know, this is equator, this is Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Capricorn, you know, prime meridian, right? Then you have Sahara, Sahel, savanna, equatorial forests, right? In the south you have deserts, in the north you have deserts. We have discussed about some bays 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 coast 1, 2, 3, 4 coasts. Try to map it on the, put a pen and paper and try to draw that on the map. Then it becomes easy for you to sit. In your rough also you can draw, or in the map that we have given, looking into the atlas, you can also plot there. Yes, first tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, what are they? Grain, ivory, gold, slave. Very good. What is 5? 5. Country is Namibia and the bay is Walvis Bay. What are present here? Whales and planktons. Very good. Next, 6 is, this is Mozambique, right? This is Mozambique, right? What is the bay? Kya? Look into the atlas and see. Maputo. Dugong sea cubs are present here, right? And this is your South Africa. 15 is Mozambique. What is 12, 13, 14? Somalia, Kenya. 11th is Mozambique Channel. Then Male T countries, right? So what is 5? 5 is Western Sahara, right? So please tell me the countries from west to east. You know this. You know the Horn, right? Tell me the countries of the Horn. So this is your Eritrea, and then this is Ethiopia, this is Djibouti, this is Somalia, this is your Horn. Egypt, then Sudan, South Sudan, and Kenya is this, right? So these are the countries which are usually invited for the extensions of the Somalia. Now, what is the difference between this South Sudan and North Sudan? South Sudan and Sudan. See, the difference between South Sudan and Sudan is, it's just like North Korea and South Korea. They are not good friends. They are also divided on the basis of religion. They are also divided on the basis of religion. In the South, you will generally find Christianity. In the North, you find Islamism, right? Most of the population that you find is Islam. So the backing of the South Sudan is from the US. US backing will be there. And in the Sudan, there are notorious communities can be seen here, right? So Sudan and South Sudan, they are not always in good terms, right? Remember, I'll connect this little later, right? So more or less, you are clear with some kind of Africa map now, right? Let us continue. We'll now go and look into lakes. So if this is your Ethiopia, what is the lake where the river Egypt originates? Lake Tana. From Tana, the dam that is built is GRED, Great Renaissance of Ethiopian Dam, right? So GERD dams, and the White Nile originates at Lake Victoria. Is Lake Victoria part of the Rift Valley? No. Remember this, Lake Victoria is not part of the Rift Valley. It is not a saltwater lake, it's a freshwater lake. Some of the important lakes that you are supposed to know is this cup. ये सारा याद करना है, सबसे important part है ये. Lakes के ऊपर questions आता है. Once they ask the question on Lake Chad, why shrinking lake is there? And see, if you, when you're in doubt, when you want to find out a place in atlas you are not getting, simply type it on the Google Maps. Let's say if I go to the Denical depression, there will be couple of lakes. Depression का मतलब lakes है, and in the lakes that are they saltwater lakes or freshwater lakes in a depression? See here. This is your Danical depression. So these lakes, whatever you're getting to see, will there be fresh water or salt water? Salt by default. And the chances are that as the climate changes, they'll shrink more. Yes. So majority of the lakes which you find in Ethiopia, they are shrinking. Right? Desert lakes, they'll shrink. Rift Valley lakes, they will shrink. ठीक है? Africa में, until and unless a lake which is originated by the rain-fed, that will be fresh. Rest of the rivers will be saline. Why? Majority of Africa is either a desert or into the depressions, and it is present in the Rift Valley. So, आंख बंद करके अगर कोई अफ्रीका में lakes आया, other than the ones which I am now going to tell, always they are saline, they are not fresh water, and they are shrinking. Right? One by one, lakes will now look into. Lake Kariba. On the borders between Zambia and Harare. Try to identify that. On the river Zambia. Identify in your atlas. Take some time to look through. See here. Between Zimbabwe and Zambia, see, this is not a natural lake, it is a man-made lake. Why did they dig? This is the fundamental source for both the countries. They share water, and equal share is there, and equal contribution is there. So this is like India has its own Indus Water Treaty. They also have their own treaty, Zambia and Zimbabwe Treaty, for the Lake Kariba. It's an artificial lake. It's not a man-made lake. Next, come to Lake Malawi. Lake Malawi. One by one, we'll look into. See here. There is that. Just a minute. I'll show you a better map. See, the intention of showing all of these maps is examiner is interested in knowing which of these lakes are part of Rift Valley and which of these lakes are not part of Rift Valley. First exception is Lake Victoria. It is not part of. Next is Lake Meru, which is not part of Rift Valley. All the other lakes are part of Rift Valley. Lake Adbert, Lake Tana, Lake Kivu. From south to north, one by one. Make this diagram the same way. Okay? Like the same way. In the center, you have Lake Victoria, Turkana, Kyoga. Then in the center, you have Rukwa, Tanganayika, and in the Albert, Edward, Kivu, Tanganayika. In the same order, please write it, we'll mug it up. Lake Meru and Lake Victoria are not part of the Great Rift Valley. That means they are freshwater. Yes, they are freshwater. Lake Tanganayika, Lake Rukwa, Lake Edward, Albert, Kivu, Turkana, and Malawi. All of them are part of the Rift Valleys. That means, will they be fresh water or saline water? They are saline water. Can this saline water be the source of some rivers? Possibility can be there. Will that river be saline in nature? No. The river's general characteristics is to refresh itself. River will never be saline by its source. River will be saline by its climate. Okay? River will not be saline by its source. River will be saline by its climate. Remember that. So in the saline climates, it means to say that there should be a desert for the river to turn out to be saline, right? Like Indus when it is going into the drain of the Arabian Sea. Likewise, Egypt at the Cairo, after crossing Cairo, that is where the Egypt listed. Map it also, same in the Rift Valley. I also want you to map them. Done? Now, as you have written, just next to those lakes, where is it found? You just have to know those countries. It's difficult to mug up, I know, but make some mnemonic of your own choice. But at the end, you are supposed to remember them. At least elimination technique use karna hai. Lake Victoria is not part. And see, there is another river called Kagera. It is also the major source for Lake Victoria is also the major source. In the north, you will see the White Nile, here Kagera. And there are small streams which you will find there. Tell me, Lake Victoria, look into your atlas and tell me, Lake Victoria has borders with how many countries? What are they? Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Ab atlas dekho ek bar, look into the atlas. ठीक है, इतना आपको जानना चाहिए. बाकी I don't think more information about Lake Victoria. It is called as Miromitic Lake. What does Miromitic Lake means? Anyone would like to answer? Miromitic means what? Glow? No. That no rivers is basically radials. Radials are something which move out. I'll explain that in the Indian geography for rivers. Miromitic, different density. Yes, very good. Good logic. It is different densities can be seen in this river. Density variations can be seen there, right? And just have a look. Where is Lake Chand? So this is your Lake Chand. And here, the importance of this lake is that it is shrinking at a faster rate. How fast? It is already lost by 60%. 60%. Now, when you have seen this river, Lake Victoria, it is written as world's third largest lake after Caspian Sea and Lake Superior. What is the biggest lake? Which lake is the biggest lake? What is largest lake? यूपीएससी में ऐसे सवाल नहीं आता. क्यों नहीं आता? Biggest in terms of what? Is it in terms of size, or is it in terms of volume, or is it in terms of depth? They will be very specifically asking. Yes. So you have Lake Baikal. It is not mentioned here. Russia. It is the largest and the deepest lake in terms of volume. So Biggest lake in terms of what? In terms of area, it is superior. Okay. UPSC will exclusively mention which of the following in terms of area are the biggest lakes, are ascending or descending. So there will be very specifically ascending, descending in terms of volume, like that. Remember Lake Baikal, which is there in Russia. It is the deepest lake, and the length of that lake is 200 kilometers. Itna bada lake hai. And it is one lake. In terms of volume, it is the biggest. In terms of deep, it is the biggest. In terms of area, this is talking about third largest lake after Caspian Sea and Superior, Lake Superior. Important rivers. Just only identify. They won't ask you river Limpopo is flowing through which areas and which states, and so is not important. You just need to know these are the rivers that are existing in Africa. Okay? They are the rivers which are existing in Africa, and they are in Africa. This is what you need to know. Lake, River Limpopo, Senegal, Orange, Zambezi, Congo, Nigeria, Nile. Broadly, are they present in the northern region, southern region, eastern region, western region? That is what you are supposed to know. One by one, you already know the river Nile. The origins are coming from two major rivers, Lake Victoria and Lake Tana. Right? Do you have any river on the north? Not many. Senegal River is on the west. Voltas, you have learned about the Gold Coast, right? If you remember the Wegener's theory of continental drift, yeah, have you heard of placer deposits? Something? Yes, those placer deposits, you can actually link it with the river Congo. Basically, this is how your South America used to be there. And today, this is the Brazil. So the source of these gold is present in Brazil. Earlier, this river used to be like this, right? And the South America left a part. But rivers which carried their deposits were still present. And these placer deposits, small deposits, the source is in Brazil, but today we find these placer deposits in the river Congo. So Congo is actually present in the equatorial area, and this is the area where gold placer deposits can be seen. Congo, the gold placer deposits, right? River Nile in the north. Just know that this river exists. Don't try to remember and mug up which countries it is passing through and so. The interesting aspect of this Limpopo is that it cuts the Tropic of Capricorn twice. Now, which river in India cuts the Tropic of Cancer twice? Yes. In India. Question आया था क्या पेपर में? हाँ, Sunday. So, Mahi River in India cuts the Tropic of Cancer twice. It cuts, again it returns and comes back. Right? Like that, Limpopo, Tropic of Capricorn. River Niger on the southwestern side. That's it. River Senegal on the Grain Coast. Okay? Across the Grain Coast, you will see. River Congo, I told you, gold placer deposits. Gold placer deposits can be present. Small river, River Orange, you just need to know that they exist. River Zambezi. Victoria Falls are on this particular river. Victoria Falls. Which is the highest falls? Angel Falls and then Victoria Falls. Right? Important mountains. Atlas, you already know. Right? Atlas Mountains. Next, Mount Kenya in Kenya. Not important. This is also not important. Kilimanjaro. Yes. See, this Kilimanjaro mountain is present just 5 degrees away from equator. Though the height of Kilimanjaro is going 6,000 meters plus, still there is snowfall on Kilimanjaro. Why? It is near to equator. It is below the equator. Somewhere below the equator. Even snow lines are absent here. It is present in Tanzania. Only in winters, a chance of on the peak, a small patches of snow will be there, right? 6,000 meters mein to India mein, you go to Shimla. Shimla is at a height of 2,000, not even 2,200 meters. It is during the winters, it is fully covered with snow, right? But at equator, this is called as altitudinal zonation. ये भी important नहीं है. No, not required. Plateaus. Ethiopian highlands. What is it famous for?
Volcanoes.
Coffee. Volcanoes? Coffee. Yes. The origins of the coffee that came to India came from this particular place. Baba Budan Hills, you might have heard. How did Baba Budan get the coffee?
In
Bamboo. In the bamboo stick, because coffee is not allowed to be traded, and Ethiopia was a colony of British back then. So the British did not allow trading, and coffee was widely present here and in the Brazil. So all of them, either you know about the story of South America, it is divided between two countries. Treaty of Tordesillas. The Treaty of Tordesillas says this side of the continent is mine and this side of the continent is yours. So that's why even when you go to this South America, the languages are also Spain and Latin, that is Portugal's, right? They divided, they asked English not to come to South America. So that's why English is absent in South America. It is Latin languages are the Spain, they had their own treaty. So English is nothing but British. British is confined only towards this Africa, India, East. But when you go to South America, it is Spain, it is Portugal, right? See here, Ethiopian Islands coffee is very famously present here, human originated here, and this is also the same area. If you remember, there is a Finlater jet stream. Suna hai? Finlater jet stream. Jet stream which comes from Somali jet stream we call it. See, the average height of this Ethiopia is somewhere around 4,000 meters to 3,500 meters, 3.5 kilometers. So tropopause, if the wind is moving, this jet stream which comes to India, it is the same jet stream which is adding additional push to the monsoons to come to India, which are there from the Bay of Bengal and so. So this jet stream is originating from here. Why this jet stream is originating? For a reason, variating temperatures in the northern hemisphere with the southern hemisphere. Extreme variation is there and it will lead to the creation of the jet stream. I think we need not go too much into detail. So Ethiopian highlands are also the places where you will find the Blue Nile. Monsoonal time periods, June, July, peak summers. It's a temporary jet stream, it's not a permanent jet stream. Drakensberg scraplands. Scraplands means what? Grasslands. Scraplands are grasslands, arable lands, dry areas. So in the scraplands, you will find large scale ranching. Ranching will be present. This is Drakensberg scraplands. I already told Karoo lands will be there here. Mountains, plain, leeward, windward side. So Karoo lands. Ranching means if you own 2,000 goats, what will you do? That grazing is called large scale ranching, large scale grazing. If you do it with horses, if you do it with not just goats, other animals, that is called ranching. A ranch is nothing but hundreds of acres of area grazing takes place. Come to the plateaus. Only important plateaus I will show you. Two important plateaus, plateau of Bai and plateau of Katanga. Please identify them. This is Bai Plateau, Hulia Plateau, and Katanga Plateau. Very rich in minerals. Right? Very rich in minerals. Bai Plateau, Katanga Plateau, and Hulia Plateau. Three plateaus which are rich in minerals. Can you also identify these welts? These are called, what are welts? Temperate grasslands, right? What is the height of the temperate grasslands? Not more than 2 meters, right? Not more than 2 meters. Characteristic of grasses, I already told you. They store their seeds in the, yes. So broadly, this is what is Africa for you. Come to the handout of current affairs. अब तो कुछ तो पता चला ना, there is something in Africa. Handout. I'll discuss all of this in tomorrow. ECOWAS. India's interest is there in the ECOWAS. Remember, I'll give you. India को observer मिला है. I mean, why is India an observer in Africa? What is the interest of India? What is the reason? We wanted to become a leader for Global South. So which country exited from this? Which country exited from this? ECOWAS. We'll discuss all of this. Please go home and read all about this. Next, top cocoa producer of the world. Last year also the question asked, which of the following countries were well known for the two largest cocoa producers in the world? Yeah. Why? Current affairs में बहुत था. Sudan, ठीक है. Khartoum is in news. Sierra Leone, not much. So all of these countries, if you see Benin, and I gave a very big list of countries where the coup happened. Okay? This coup happened in almost all the countries which are there in the, from the western side to the eastern side. I'll discuss all of this tomorrow. Anyways, you have the handout in advance. Read the entire handout. We'll complete Africa and we'll go to a new continent. For us, the most important area would be India. Right? I'll be dealing India with respect to rivers. Are they antecedent? Are they consequent? And which river origins at which place and what national parks move through that, and some topography of that area. Plus India mein, if there are any new places which are in news. So that, let's say that I'm doing Africa, I'm doing North America, South America, and Europe. Middle East Asia is very, very important. We'll do that again. So you need not spend much of your energy on South America. You need not spend much of your energy on Australia, but spend your energy on Africa and some part of North America, because US is in news. Middle East area पे ज़्यादा जोर लगाओ, and India. These are the countries that you are supposed to do. I'll give handouts for each of this like this. So today we'll stop. Tomorrow we'll continue where we have left. So I want you to fill up the map like this. See here. You have got a practice map, right? Spend little time on making a map of this sort. It's worth doing it. I'm telling you, it's worth doing it. You never know what kind of questions will come in the mapping. A map of Africa in single map, which you have got it as a practice. You just make a dots 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever we have learned, right? So take a pen, take a paper, or draw and identify the places of current affairs. Just know why this is in news, right? Why this is in news. Why Burkina Faso is in news. Why Eritrea is in news. Why Senegal is in news. Why Sahel is in news. Just if you need to know the reasons. And if at all, the questions that are asked, they are always there in the headlines. Okay? They are always there in the headlines. You need to know only the headlines of it. Why that is in news. Look here. in this was a 2025 last question. Consider the following water bodies: Lake Tanganayika, Lake Tonle Sap, Patos Lagoon. Through how many of them does the equator passes through? अभी तो पढ़ा तंगनायका. Equator passes through Victoria. ठीक है, equator passes through Victoria. Now once go and check what are the lakes that are parallel to each other. It could be Kivu. Equator passes through this. So, if at all these lakes would have been there, I would have told you, no. Last year question आया तो कम से कम मैं बता ही देता. Once look at these questions. Again in 2020 mapping question. UK, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil. How many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? Consider the following pairs: region and country. Match the following. ये PYQ से रट के आया, ठीक है? Consider the following countries: Finland, Germany, Norway, Russia. How many of the above countries have a border with the North Sea? The longest border between any two countries in the world shares between Canada, USA. Consider the following statements: the Red Sea receives very little precipitation in any form. No water enters into the Red Sea from rivers. Red Sea में कोई river नहीं जाता, ठीक है? No river drains into Red Sea. And the Red Sea receives very little precipitation in any form. Very little and any. तो आपको शक होना चाहिए. You should be cautious when you read these kind of statements. I won't go into the answers. I'll tell all of this a little later. But at least you should be alert. Yeah, is this correct or is this wrong? Like that. Consider the following countries: Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania. 2023. 2022, Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. Which of the above have borders with Afghanistan? 2023 में. Again 2020, Mekong, Thames, Volga, Zambezi. You just need to know where they are present. Like say Limpopo is a river, Orange is a river, right? Niger is a river, Senegal is a river. You just need to know where it is located. Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Venezuela. 2025. Botswana, Chile, Indonesia. Again 2025. Look at the total number of questions from mapping. Which of the following countries are well known as the 2 largest cocoa producers in the world? 2025. Central Asia, Europe, North America, South America. ये तो आसान सा सवाल है. About the 3/4 of the world's cobalt, a metal required for the manufacturing of the batteries for electric motor vehicle, is produced by. Which of the following is part of the Congo Basin? Cameroon, Nigeria, South Sudan, Uganda. ये अब ये बताओ. ये South Sudan. GC Dukes. U for possibilities there. Congo में equator से जा रहा है ना. Congo river also is present near to the equator. Then Cameroon, Nigeria. Where is Cameroon? Where is Nigeria? Nigeria is in the. Where did you find Nigeria? Any of the coastlines are present in Nigeria? Any coast? We have learned about 4 coasts. Slave coast, right? So, how do you come to the deductions? Can you eliminate Nigeria? Can you eliminate the South Sudan? It is on the eastern side. Congo is on the central part. observations पे भी questions है. The reason why I'm asking you to make this map is when you sit back, no matter how much ever I teach you, okay, I can give you little more information, I can show you, but examiner is going and looking into the observation skills. So this is Congo. कम से कम आप elimination में तो नाइजीरिया यहाँ पर है, you have learned, and I told you extensions of this Somalia, and there is South Sudan, there is Egypt, Sudan we have understood. मतलब सुडान तो यहाँ हो सकता है, कम से कम at least you are now having the potential to think on the elimination side. So this is what mapping will help you, right? Though we did not study directly, now the dilemma should be between two countries. Cameroon, you don't know where it exists, right? 50-50 में elimination chance में whatever your brain tells for the first time, mark it, right? So in Africa itself, at least did you see some 3 or 4 questions that are asked? So that's why it will be a homework for you. Everyone sit back, and for your reference, I'll upload this onto the portal, this map, right? Or else those of you who are there in the Telegram channel, I'll directly upload it to the Telegram channel. You just spend some time opening the map of Africa and spend some 5-10 minutes to 20 minutes looking into, this is Congo, this is the river, right? So this particular map I'll share to you both. I've divided the same map into half and half, right? We'll stop, tomorrow we'll continue. Thank you.